What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut, Small Batch Barbecue. Joining me tonight is my barbecue brother, Mr. AJ Johnson from the Norada Barbecue team. Mr. AJ, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? What's up? Good.
Shit, I am enjoying this off season, man. I am officially in the off season. I think you are as well. You just hanged up the boots and said, second place in the country is good enough for you.
Hey, that's good enough for me, man. I'm just trying to spend some time with family and just have a good time.
I know our wives are happy to hear that.
Oh, very happy.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh man, you cook one more." I'm like, "No, I want to stay married." I love barbecue, but I'm trying to stay married. So
just Cody was texting me. He was like, "Man, just come to Virginia with me." Like, you're 5 points away from number one. I'm like, "Man," I said, "Man, I'm good. I'm good with second place or third."
Dude, I'd be good with any of those. I think I ended up like 13th, but just outside the top 10. Didn't get to pull it off. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. It's an improvement from last year, so we'll see how it goes. But no, man, dude, how's the weather been down in Alabama? Is it freaking like hot then cold? And
yeah, man, it's been hot and cold. Well, we was going to the beach this past week, but just hearing some of the guys here at work, it's been hot, then got cold in the middle of the week, then warm back up. So it's good old Alabama for you.
Well, so I heard it's really cold there in Alabama, especially in Tuscaloosa with that Alabama football team. Woo!
A lot of broken hearts,
dude. Oh, I know, man. Like we were talking earlier before the show. Freaking the kids that were 30 and younger. I mean, y'all are like the trust fund kids of college football, man. You got all you know is Nick Saban football. I mean, that's a unicorn, man. You just enjoy his time and then he move on to the pastures because
that's right.
I mean, losses are normal. Take it from a Kentucky fan. They're normal and often in the bluegrass state. That is for sure. But man, I can't tell you how fun that was being in Pussyq. I was such an asshole, and it was so funny. being a Pussyq, watching that Alabama Vanderbilt game, and the whole room is Bama fans, and I'm over here every time Vandy's cheering. I'm like, "Woo, anchor down, anchor down." Oh, I got some hate mail from that. So
you did, and
that's fine.
You played Rocky Talk too, didn't you?
I did. Yes. Anytime I'm in Alabama, that's gonna be my new thing. I'm not a Tennessee fan. I'm a Kentucky fan. I really don't like Tennessee that much either, but I'm an instigator. So anytime I have my big, if you know me, I have my big JBL 300 speaker.
Jamming.
At least once, it's going to be Rocky Top in Alabama just to piss them off. And if we cook in Tennessee, I'll play Sweet Home Alabama or whatever. Oh, Daniel, be nice. Hater. Bunch of haters. Dude, another thing, man. I think it's like a Hitchcock movie here. Has Ladybugs taken over your house?
Not yet, man. So hopefully we can stay away from Ladybugs. But usually around this time, Ladybugs does come out. So
holy crap, dude! I'm in the shower and I got like a window. There's like a frosted window in the shower, and I look all around. My wife's like screaming, and I look around. It's like crawling all in the ceiling. It's like I was taking. Oh, shut up, Josh! It's not pecan either. No, it's like they're crawling all over. Like, here's the thing: I go and get the vacuum cleaner, and then I come back and I suck them all out like you're supposed to, right?
Right.
I go lay down because I'm sick. And then 10 minutes later, my wife's like, "Did you do anything?" Some of the bitches are recovered again. It's like the B team. It's like, "All right, red team go, red team go." I'm like, "God damn it, you can't do nothing with them." It's like stink bugs, and then follow that. It's like second platoon of ladybugs.
That's right.
And I don't even want to know what the deer stands look like. I know they just like creeping and crawling.
I mean, it's about time to get them things.
It is, man. I was supposed to go down there this weekend, but and get ready. But like I told you, we had kid free weekend, and I was like, all right, sweet. And then I got freaking sick. So
it happens.
Go figure, dude. Last time I got in a tree stand though, when I was cleaning out the stands, before the season, freaking 3 of the stands had raccoons in them. I'm not kidding you. I was with my kids. I opened the door, freaking raccoons. Like, I'm like, oh shit.
Be like, oh, y'all gotta go.
Oh, dude, I'm throwing rocks at them. And like, I'm gonna freaking like trying to poke them with a stick, and they're just like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. This is mine."
Y'all just keep it sure. Yeah. Y'all just keep it stand. I don't need it.
No. There's one that had like 3. I'm like, well, this is yours now. I guess this is where you live. But no, man, no. I am excited. This is your week. And like I said, as everybody knows, this whole month we're allowing the host to pick one guest, and this week it's kind of both of ours pick. We got none other than Mr. Tim Scheer of Shake and Bake Barbecue, Blues Hog.
Shake and Bake, baby.
Let's see. Hold on. Gateway Drums. I know Marble Ridge. I mean, the line just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, this guy is the JD Rockefeller of barbecue, and I'm honored and excited to have him on the show, man. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce everybody to the second tallest man in barbecue, Mr. Tim Scheer.
All right, I like it.
Second tallest.
About time somebody passed me up, man.
It was funny, man. Like I said, I met Tim down at Pusacue and we talked for a little bit. And if you're a tall person, AJ, you'll know the code. But if you're a tall guy, I mean, Tim knows. We all have that little nod. You know, if you see another guy over 6'6" and up, you do like the acknowledging, like, "How you doing, sir? Thank you. Thank you for being here." Yeah. And then
exactly.
We gave the nod, and I said, "What's up, Shorty?" And then we talked from there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I know your back hurts, man, but you're hanging in there.
Exactly.
You probably just hit your head on something.
Exactly. Where do you get your tall tees from? I need to find that out. But no, man, Tim, thank you so much. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. Not only with the competition barbecue, with just business and life in general. So as every podcast you've been on, give the 3-minute intro about who Tim Scheer is.
All right, my favorite part now.
I know, it's like, talk about
me. I'm head pitmaster. Started Shake and Bake barbecue team, like, I don't even know when. It's probably been 15 years ago at least by now, and maybe more than that. But started making Gateway drum smokers in 2012, basically. Purchased the Blues Hog company from Billy Arnold in 2015. We started the Barbecue League, which is our online subscription-based service with Brad. We started that probably about 4 years ago, maybe more. And, latest thing I've done as far as work goes is Marble Ridge Farms, which is Wagyu cattle and some heritage breed pork. So, been pretty busy, man. In the meantime, being a girl dad and raising 3 daughters and going to basketball games and everything else with them, it takes up most of what I do. So it's fun though. I like to stay busy, so that keeps me busy.
Awesome.
Anytime you got young, how old are your kids?
They're 16, 15, and 12 now. So,
oh man,
all the attitude ages. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, they're right in there, man. It's right in there. So,
yeah, man. He ain't got no gray hair or nothing, man. I was like, I got one daughter, and I got a little white soul patch over here. They wear you out, man.
Yeah, I got too. But.
Well, that's cool, man. So start off talking, like, what kind of got you into the competition barbecue? Was it a big thing in Missouri, or barbecue scene? Or
the barbecue scene was pretty decent actually around us, and I didn't really know a lot about it, but I had a buddy here from Washington that I didn't really know well at the time, but he was cooking and set up a little trailer at the gas station, so I'd go down there and kind of pick his brain a little bit. And we just started doing local competitions. Our first one was at a local winery here, and just kind of behind our house. And it was 4 teams, and I think there's 5 teams, and we got 4th. But so
there you go.
Avoided the DAL at least. But no, man, we just did it as a group of guys and whatever, just to have fun. And then we did that for a couple of years, and started to get a little more competitive and doing some online research and this and that, trying to figure it out. So, kind of started doing a few more and taking the cooking part a little more seriously for a while. But, and honestly, man, we just enjoyed it. We really enjoyed the people. My wife liked it. Kids started coming, and they liked it. So it's just been a really fun journey. And it started as a little hobby, and it's turned into our life, to be honest with you now. And, you know, a huge part of our life at least. And, you know, I feel pretty fortunate to be in that situation, quite honestly, but you know, it's just one of those things where you go as hard as you can and see where it takes you. So
Absolutely.
So starting off, like I said, was I mean, you didn't, you know, follow the typical like pitmaster, like, you know, guys that cook barbecue, especially when they started doing competition and get more serious and more accolades like you do. You know, the first thing that always comes to mind, and every barbecue guy's like, you know, barbecue restaurant. Is that ever on your radar? Or are you like, I kind of want to go another way, like with the pit building and stuff like that?
I never really wanted to do any of it, to be honest with you. I had it as a hobby, and I wanted it to be a hobby, quite honestly, because it was like when it would be Friday or whatever, we'd leave work and go to the contest. It was like my escape, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
I enjoyed that part of it. It was fun, you know. The people were fun, and it kind of got your mind out of reality. It felt like, and you know, when we started, you know, I made the first Gateway drum smoker in 2012, and you know, I made one for myself, and that was it. I had really no plans of, you know, turning it into a business or anything like that, until you know we started doing well on it, and when we won a Royal and things like that, on ribs and all that stuff. So, you know, people started asking for them, and of course, I would make them one and charge them next to nothing because I, you know, really didn't want it to be a enterprise or anything like that. It was just kind of a, you know, make them one so they go away from me. But I remember it came a point that, you know, I was like, all right, I'm spending a lot of time doing this. We've got to, you know, we've really got to either take this seriously and do it as a business and treat it like a business, or just quit, you know? So, so, you know, that's kind of how the drum smoker took off. And, you know, we started, you know, getting a little more serious about how we made them and everything else. So, so yeah, I mean, it was definitely a different avenue as far as restaurant. Like, no, I never really wanted a restaurant. I've done a food truck every once in a while. We've done a bunch of events, and every time I get to itch to do that, I just go fire at the food truck, and that reminds me that I don't want to do that anymore. So, it's fun for like a day, and I enjoy serving the people and making them, you know, giving them something that they enjoy. But man, it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of headaches too. So, as for now, we've got enough of those already without that. So, so yeah, I've kind of stayed off of that. And, you know, when 2015, when, you know, Billy was talking about, you know, he came to me and that, you know, was in health situation and all kinds of other stuff. So, you know, I was just trying to help a friend more than anything, you know what I mean, as far as Blues Hog goes. And then he started getting pretty serious about, you know, asking me to buy the company. And, you know, that's one of the reasons. I mean, I remember thinking back, like, I would never start my own rub or sauce company. I was like, why would I ever do that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Blues Hog is what I use. And that's, you know, like, you know, had Smoking Guns Hot and all these other rubs that were perfectly fine. I was like, I don't need another one. You know what I mean? But, but anyway, it's kind of funny how it worked out, you know, with that, with you know, the Blues Hog situation and all that stuff. So, you know, it's been cool, and it's worked out, you know, really better than I ever could have imagined, honestly.
Absolutely. So with the you know, we talked about the Gateway drum smokers earlier. Has any of your current design changed over the years, or has it always been the same since 2012?
Man, honestly, like, we made the first one, and we just recently refurbished it and put it in the showroom, and there is like minimal design changes, if any, you know what I mean? And most of it's just kind of common sense stuff that we were like, you know, this could be just a tiny bit, you know, the stack might be an inch shorter. Like, there's really like almost nothing that's changed in that thing. And that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, I'd say we got pretty lucky with, you know, the initial function of it, but, you know, every time something comes that's, you know, another feature, another thing, we can try to remind ourselves that the beauty of this thing is that it's so simple, you know, and it's so easy and consistent that, you know, every time we start adding more, you know, features or whatever, it just kind of takes away from the original concept of it, which was, you know, controlled air in and out, you know what I mean? And consistent temps and all that stuff. So, you know, no, we haven't really changed much at all. You know, if anything, it's just been, you know, continue to do what it does. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
I think there's something about it that's, very simple, very, unique in the style that it works. Obviously made in the USA is a huge thing for us and continues to be. And, I had somebody throw me a quote of like $150 to make it in China the other week. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's incredible. You know what I mean? But I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Right.
But,
No.
so it's like, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? There's not too many products like that anymore. And, it's probably, pride over profit, I guess, but it's the way we do it.
Well, it's definitely, like you said, gateway drums now. I remember when I first started cooking, 2018, 19. I remember one team had, these drums. It was your gateways, and I ain't never seen them before. I'm just kind of getting into barbecue, and if you're not kind of into the competition scene, drums aren't something you see on average. I was like, what is this stuff? And then he ended up winning the contest, and I was like, what is this crap? Like, I had Betsy, Offset that was a wood eater. And he's over here with his little fans, and tweak a couple of them, and I think that's the beauty of the gateway drums. You can do 4 different grills for 4 different meats. They're lightweight and they don't take up a ton of space.
I mean, that's that was one thing when I first started cooking. Like I did, like you did, I did that for one contest total. Brought my stick burner, and that was enough for me as well. But but then after that, I went to a pellet cooker and cooked all 4 meats on the same one, and it's just been it was difficult because it never failed. I was trying to run my ribs hot and brisket cool or something at the wrong time. It was just it was hard to get it all done and without ruining one thing or another. So when we started cooking on drums, it just opened up a lot of flexibility and time and flavor and just a unique concept as far as how they worked and the flavor that they were putting on the food. It was crazy. So
when did you start seeing like a steady increase? I mean, now it's kind of a meteoric rise I've seen when like majority of the teams now you see at comps have gateway drums or some form of drums. Was it like when you were Brad? I mean, obviously you are legends on the circuit, tearing up the scene. I mean, that's essentially marketing for you at that point, wasn't it? I mean, the more you and Brad won, the more
was. Like Brad was one of the first guys that, like I said, with the friends that wanted to make you one, like he was one of the first guys that actually wanted to buy one. And I was like, I was like, why does this guy want to buy this? This is so weird. And he thought I was like, what? He's like, why won't this guy sell me anything? Like, what's wrong with this guy? You know what I mean? It was kind of a funny meeting, but, but yeah, I mean, after that, it was just like, people called me crazy the whole time too. And everybody, that, why are you cooking on that thing? And I was like, well, it's just been working, you know what I mean? And when we started winning on them, it was just, I started getting phone calls from a lot of the more established barbecue cooks, and they were all picking my brain. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be picking your brain, like, what are we doing here?
Right.
And, it was pretty funny at first. And I was like, golly, I'm just told whoever, how to cook. And I was like, that doesn't seem right, but they were interested in it, I think, for several reasons, the speed, the flavor, we were winning a lot and stuff. So, and it's fun, they're fun to cook on. So, anyway, it's been a weird journey, I would say, but it's been fun.
That's awesome, man. Hey, let's talk about, Blues Hog, sauces and rubs and stuff. You said you were you used the sauces and rubs before obviously you bought the business. Yeah. Now I can safely say they're in 99%, especially your Blues Hog sauces are in 99% of all competition barbecues, sauces and blends that they do. Was it like that at the beginning, or was it super popular on the circuit? I mean, you had Sim Docs and you had Smoking Guns and the sauces and stuff like that. Were they always like Blues Hog was still in the mix, or did it kind of take off?
Honestly, it really was. When we started, I'll never forget the first guy that showed it to me. I tasted. He goes, "Try my sauce." I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." I tried it, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, no wonder, you know what I mean? And it was just Blues Hog. I think it was a Blues Hog original and probably Tennessee Red mix or something. But I was like, all right. and that's when I first learned about it. I think it was at my first KCBS competition or one of the first ones. But so yeah, I mean, it was the staple, the standard, of course. And I felt like right about when I was taking over with Blues Hog that it kind of needed a reboost of assurance that this is the standard and it's going to stay. You know what I mean? So that's kind of when I started hitting the competitions hard, and just felt like we needed to reestablish it and make sure people know that it's going to be the same and carry on in the proper way. So
sure.
That's kind of we hit a bunch of them for a while. So
yeah, absolutely. So when you started, what was it? It was just Blues Hog OG, and then Blues Hog, Smoky Mountain and Tennessee Red, or
original and Tennessee Red I think were first, and then came actually the Honey Mustard, I believe, and then Smoky Mountain was one of the last ones that Bill had bottled. Yeah,
I got you. And did you have Sweet and Savory on the rub? And then
no, it was just original dry rub back then. So
original dry rub,
only one seasoning. Yeah,
I got you.
Then the first two seasonings that we released were Sweet and Savory and Bold and Beefy at the same time. Yeah,
I mean, those are two. Bold and Beefy especially. I can eat that stuff raw.
Oh,
it's I'm over here. I'm over here just dabbing it and licking. Like my wife said, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about
it." Yeah. No, it's a good one, and it took a long time. You know what I mean, to make and create and everything else like that. So it was about a 2-year process, honestly, and the co-packer was ready to kill me, to be honest with you, and I just kept telling him, I'm like, dude, we're so close. We're gonna nail it. It's gonna be perfect before we get done with it. You know what I mean? We're not just gonna call it good.
Right.
And I'm glad we did. You know what I mean? Because it was just small tweaks and it's been worth it since then.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, man, they're both fantastic. Sweet and Savory is fantastic, and Bold and Beefy is just it's the best beef rub I love. It's my favorite beef rub. Put on everything. But let's transition back to kind of like competition barbecue. Like how long were you like in the scene until you started hitting hot and heavy? Like going after, because like what's your top end you ever did? Like 40 comps or?
Yeah, I did 42 comps was the most I ever did. I think that was around, I'm guessing like 2018 or so, something like that. I think I finished second in Team of the Year. Travis Clark was first. He had a perfect season, which I don't think had ever been done before, and we were 1 point shy of perfect season. So we went at it pretty hot and heavy, and 42 times, and it was fun. It was exhausting, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
So did you always have a trailer cook, or would you kind of like pop up and go, and then
When I first started, we just we had a fun time just taking the pickup truck, and dropping a couple of drums off of it. There were several times where we went to the competition on Saturday morning, and checked in our meat and started cooking at 6 o'clock in the morning, started injecting our meat at 6 o'clock in the morning, cooking at 7, you know what I mean? So we won a couple of them like that, believe it or not. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you had a lot of people shaking their heads about it, but we only did it a few times, but it was funny. Some good memories from that. But yeah, we had, it wasn't too long. We had a toy hauler that we had bought, for camping and stuff. And that became the barbecue rig. And then we had the gray trailer that old Josh has now in Texas. So right now we just have the cook trailer. We've been easy up to few this year, and we've cooked out of the trailer a couple times. So.
Yeah, that was the first time I got to see the trailer at Pussycue this year, man. That thing's it's hard to miss, man. It's pretty sharp.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. We kind of remodeled it and took the vending stuff out of it a couple months ago and went back to more of a competition style setup in there. So it worked out pretty well.
I got you. So let me ask you. I mean, my viewers would kill me if I didn't hit you with some pork question, because you are the pork king and all these people's thoughts. What is it like? Said, which protein do you like cooking the most? Like ribs or pork or brisket, or which one?
I would say probably ribs are what I was kind of like to cook and cook the most of, over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was trying to practice and this and that, it was always, almost always ribs. Made a ton of bad ones here at the house and still do every once in a while. But pork, I think, has always been, once we started figuring it out on the drum smoker, which it was kind of the last one to come around. But once it did, it's probably been the most consistent, I would guess.
I got you.
Brisket is still to this day probably the most challenging for me. Gives me the most headaches. You know what I mean? When I first started, I was chicken that was the worst. You know what I mean? And lately it's been better. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's I do enjoy pork, and once I remember when I figured it out one time and tried a bunch of new stuff that year. That was one of the first cook-offs of the season, and I tasted it and I'm like, damn, that's different and that's nice, and honestly just been running basically that same recipe ever since. It's been probably 8 or 10 years, I bet.
You run the same recipe.
Same deal.
What is like one mistake you see a lot of new teams when, especially let's say you're cooking ribs, like what is a tip or something you would tell like a newer team that you see a lot of mistakes being had?
Newer teams, I feel like they run a plan or somebody else's timeline over just like a common sense approach as far as cooking for color and then wrap until it's tender. You know what I mean? Like they'll go 2 hours whether it's burnt or raw. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, 2 hours is great, but it's black. Like did you not notice that or what? You know what I mean? Like so, I think there's a lot of that even now, like don't be afraid to react to it. You know what I mean? Because every cook is different. Temperatures are different, humidity, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And you could have a totally different cook and time wise and still have the same results. So it's just kind of adjusting that. Not being a robot, basically, just being more of a hands-on, cook, and that takes experience. But I think once you figure that out, as a new cook, it takes a little while to figure that out, of course. But once you do, I think that's when you can really take a bigger step to be consistent.
I always see like a lot of people, they try to make it too complicated too. The more I talk to, like, the more I do this and the more I talk to people kind of off the air and kind of pick their brain a little bit, it just amazes me how simple they keep a lot of their processes. Like some people are like, oh, you want to throw the kitchen sink at it and really try to wow the judges, but that can backfire.
It can, and when you're doing that, if you're trying a lot of different seasonings and trying to like flavor of the month, I mean, you never get a system going that you know what I mean? Like when flavor's right, or if it's not right, how do you know to get back on track or whatever? I mean, there's just so much that can go wrong, and there's no way you can practice all that stuff and have experience with every single product, because rubs set up differently, like sauce reacts different, whatever, you know what I mean, and combos together. I mean, it's all it can all be inconsistent if you're not used to what's going on. So that's my thing is we find something that I like, and then that's kind of home base, and you know if you're getting right or left from it.
And then finishing is also probably the second hardest thing. I mean, you've done it so long, and you and guys like Brad, and Jordan Kirkpatrick, and all these guys, Schaefer. I mean, finishing is where I feel like you can win or lose a contest. When you're finishing, do you stick to the same thing, or can you your palate kind of taste something like, well, it needs a little more sweet, or it needs a little taste of salt, or is that something that took a while to kind of learn?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always just kept going with it. Like I would never give up on the box. Like, there's times where I ran it down to, the last second or whatever, because you had to make an adjustment or something. But yeah, it's hard to explain that, I guess. But I would say, obviously salty, there's savory, like, You can get bitter, you can get too sweet, too smoky. I mean, there's I think a couple items like that you've got to recognize, and then try to say, okay, how do I work my way out of it, or how do I steer it to a different direction? So I think that definitely takes a little time and practice. But I think if you think about it in a simple way like that, and just don't just taste it and be like, okay, it's good enough, I'm going to run it. Like, okay, it's good, but can it be better, or is there something I can do right now to make it more agreeable or whatever? You know what I mean, for the judges. So
absolutely. I mean, yeah, you've cooked pretty much all the majors at this point, haven't you? Yeah. I mean, the different leagues or associations. Is it hard for you to kind of transfer between one or the other? Because CBA and stuff like that, and Houston rodeos and stuff like that, they're different textures that tenderness is than KCBS or MBN or something like that.
Yeah, flavor wise, I'm going to be pretty set on what I'm going to do, but tenderness a little bit, and like if they're eating with a fork or if they're picking it up and eating, that'd be probably the two biggest things that I would want to know going in. So obviously if they're eating it with a plastic fork, you're going to run a little longer on your tenderness, but man, flavor wise, I'm going to probably cook what I'm used to cooking and what I know has been the most successful for me. So, and we've done that at, we've cooked Houston and San Antonio, and, Memphis and May obviously is a totally different ball game, but the flavors are what we've always done.
Yeah. So going Memphis and May, can you kind of just shortly, kind of tell us your approach going into Memphis and May, how you respond to that, just like instead of a regular standard contest?
Yeah, you're the new kid on the block, man.
Yeah, it's the hardest one as far as I'm concerned. Like, obviously we only do it once a year, so when you go to Memphis and you've got all this preparation, it's the biggest preparation of the year. You know what I mean? Like, the setup is the biggest, the presentation, everything is just, it's more than we ever do. And to only basically do it once a year is very, very difficult, and it's over before you know it. And, you look back on it and it's like, we missed, the ride home is always the craziest, I think, from Memphis. Cause it's like, next year we're going to do this. Next year we're going to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always like
thinking.
There's like a huge, it's a huge list of things that you could have done better, I guess, basically. So, yeah, I mean, in Memphis, like you said, you've got to nail the cook, not only for the blind box, because you can't fudge that. If you don't have a perfect blind box, you're out of it. And that's what happened to us this year. And then you've got all the pressure of, 3 different judges coming to your site. Okay, are we going to get somebody that's easy to talk to? Or are we going to get somebody that doesn't say a word? I mean, that can totally determine the vibe, of your presentation and how well you think it goes. You know what I mean? And it's so unpredictable. It's very difficult. It's stressful, everything, you know what I mean? And, and then if you make it to the finals, you've got another set coming. And at that point you're just jacked up and you want the energy to be high and you want everybody to be happy. And it's just, you're giving it all you got, and,
right.
But no, I mean, it's one of the neatest, I think, experiences I've ever done cooking, and it's a lot of fun. And the teamwork involved and all that stuff that goes with it is pretty cool, because it's like I could go cook a KCBS by myself, you know what I mean? And
right.
It's my fault. Everything is, you know what I mean? But Memphis, man, you got to have a crew, and everybody's got to be clicking, and you want it to be fun, and you want to have fun doing it. But it's just, there's just so much more to it. It's crazy.
So are y'all usually I can't remember, are y'all cooking whole hog or y'all doing shoulders?
We did whole hog the last 3 years. We did whole hog. We did shoulder the year before that, and then we did ribs before that, 1 or 2 years. So yeah, I've done all categories now, and it's
so you've won 2 of them. Have you won ribs?
Yeah, no, we've been top 5 ribs a couple of times. But no, we've won them all. But it's, we've won shoulder and whole hog. But I think whole hog is the most difficult, honestly. If I had to guess, it's just, I mean, trying to cook everything perfectly in one animal is just the most challenging by far.
Right.
I mean, coming down there as like a prolific KCBS team, and like you bust out the super can, like you totally just like
the mega drum.
I mean, the mega super can. I'm sorry, and you just turn everything with the normal, because I mean, I feel like Memphis in May is still the last stand of like old school kind of low and slow and doing things the traditional route. And you kind of went down there and said, "Hold my beer," like Chip and Dale, and just freaking like doing your thing. Yeah, like how was like walking in there, like this is who we are. We cook on cans, and this is what we're gonna do. Like I own a can or a can, so I will do it however the hell I want to.
Yeah. Nobody really took us seriously, and the best part of it, we didn't take ourselves seriously either. So we had pretty low expectations, I think. Not that we didn't feel like we were going to be competitive, especially after winning on the shoulder the year before, but just expecting to go down there with a brand new piece of equipment and that we really not practiced much on or anything, and expecting to win was pretty far. You know what I mean? Like we wanted to do good, but when things started happening and by the time we made it to finals, I remember Brad and I looked at each other, and we knew we had that hog, the finals hog that we call it, had it waiting if we would have made it, and we knew that was our best hog, and we looked at each other and said, we're like, screw it, we might as well try to win this thing, because we knew we had our best product to go, there. So, and the judges were so excited. I'll never forget it. Like when you had, like I said, the vibe and everything, like everything just clicked and just felt so easy at that time. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, yes, that was what you want. You know what I mean? And the last 2 years, I think we were, the following year we made the finals, and I remember the judges left, and I was like, that wasn't it. Like we had some issues. You know what I mean? So with the hog, with the meat and presentation wise a little bit, it all kind of just. I kind of knew the hog wasn't right, and that threw you off. Mentally, that threw you off. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to fluff through it. So
yeah,
no, it's cool. Like I said, man, that's one of the coolest experiences. People have never done it. It's worth a try just to see how hard it is. But.
Absolutely. Man, I feel like y'all essentially took a Tesla to a classic car show and just won the whole thing. Because all the old school guys, and you're like, I got this new stuff, and which makes sense though. How the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. Because how many fire stacks did y'all have underneath there? 3.
There's
going at once
4,
on the hog.
Yeah, 4 baskets. Yeah, 4 fire.
Yeah,
baskets,
4 fire. Yeah. So I mean, but you could really like be strategic and get exactly where you want the heat on there, because that's the hardest part about cooking a hog, right? Is even distribution of the heat.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to get the the shoulders and the hams done and not overdoing the loins. You know what I mean? So that's really your biggest challenge, and then keeping it looking good at the same time and all that. I mean, it's definitely one of the harder cooks, but no, it's. The way we cook, honestly, is nothing new to Memphis. Like cooking whole hogs over, lump charcoal and coals is definitely not new to that area. You know what I mean? So, our style is a little bit different, of course, but, there's a lot of old school tactics going on there as well.
Well, they definitely know who you are now when you roll up in there.
Most definitely.
I say you don't do many contests a year anymore, man. So is that going to be one just going to be every year? Or?
I think so. I mean, as long as we're having fun doing it, I think we'll keep going at it for sure. So, it's one of the most fun weeks of the year for sure for us. So.
Yeah. So between like Memphis and May, and you said you cooked Houston Rodeo, and that's another just ginormous contest, and then the American Royal. I mean, that's the 3 big ones I feel like of the year. You said you love Memphis and May. Like compare like the Houston Rodeo and like the American Royal, because they're both monster.
Yeah, both monster events. Houston is just so much more corporate, I guess, as far as like teams that are there to party and like corporate parties and sponsored parties and all this stuff, like private parties. You know, the tents are, you know, 100 by 100, you know, they're huge. You know, the cook-off's big too. And, you know, there's a lot of great cooks down there. I've only cooked it, I guess, once now. I've been there twice, but you know, last year we cooked it with a team, and you've got to, you know, it's almost impossible to get into unless you win. But we cooked, you know, for another team and as another team or whatever. But you know, we did well. I think we finished 6th overall. You know, I knew we overcooked the ribs a little bit, and sure enough, that's what dinged us. But you know, to go down there and not really know a totally different sanctioning body that, you know, we weren't, you know, I've cooked a few IBCAs in my life, but not very many. But you know, it's fun. I mean, just a great time, and you know, great atmosphere. Like, you know, just incredible. You know, it's when I try to describe it to people, you really can't unless you go down there and see it for yourself, because it's just like, you know, the American Royal is cool, and it's probably the most teams, and you know, it's what we've been doing for, you know, 15 years, I guess, or whatever. But you know, it's just not as sparkly, I guess, as far as tents and parties and private stuff, all that. You know what I mean? So
more like Common Man World Championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anybody, you know, you can show up with a tent and a table and still, you know, still cook it or whatever. But anyway, it's fun. You know, I like them both. You know, the American Royal is probably my favorite. You know, one of my favorites for sure. Just because it's so many people that we know and been cooking with for so many years, and it's so much fun. You know, every day there's always something going on. So.
Right. I know me and AJ talked before, and you know, your name's come up quite a few times on the show when we talk about, you know, the business side of barbecue. How, I mean, you're definitely a huge success story. When people do talk about the barbecue business, how did competition barbecue kind of help you understand kind of the needs of what our people are looking for when it comes to the barbecue business?
Well, I think that's a good question, actually. Like, you know, I've always said that, like, you know, even before business, it was like, okay, what happens in the competition world is going to happen in the backyard world, you know, 3 to 5 years later. You know what I mean? Because the competition guys are, you know, they're sniffing for the next big thing all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you're always looking for that edge. You're always looking for the next tip or trick or method that puts you over the edge. I mean, the backyard guy wants that as well, but they're not looking as hard. So, you know, it's going to trickle down to them a couple of years later. And you saw it, you know, with pellet grills was the first one. I mean, like, you know, Fast Eddie was making the FEC 100 for a long time, and comp guys and businesses were using it, you know, and then along came, you know, Traeger and everybody else is doing it. So, you know, it trickled down. You know, I think the same thing has happened, you know, not just drum smokers, but sauce and seasoning and all that. I mean, there was grocery store brands, I would call them, you know what I mean, that people bought because they were cheap and you got the job done. But now there's, you know, now it's starting to be some of the top competition brands that are, you know, getting into grocery and everyday world. And that's kind of where we're at right now. You know, so I think that's the biggest thing, you know, as far as what I've seen in the business, you know what I mean? Like, you know, business wise, it's just like competition. I mean, it's the same stuff, you know, like I say it all the time to my kids or anybody, you know, that wants to listen. It's like, you know, sports and competition teaches you more life lessons than anything. So,
absolutely,
you know, you're gonna lose on days, you're gonna win on days. You know, like, you don't want to get too high, you don't get too low. It's like, you know, you keep your head down and you keep grinding, and you know, eventually, hopefully, all your hard work pays off. I mean, that's the main thing. So, you know, I've always been a competitive guy and played sports my whole life, and you know, barbecue is one of the things that I can still do, even though I'm, you know, can't walk or whatever, right? So it's like,
yes, sir.
You know, it keeps those, you know, competitive juices flowing, and but the same thing, man. You know, you got to keep your head right, or you're gonna get blown away.
Yeah, that's right, man. And I remember when, you know, that raspberry chipotle first came out, all the comp guys, you know, was using it some sort of way. And now I walk around church or my friends like, man, you know, you tried that blue salt raspberry chipotle? Like, yeah, man, I've been tried it. It's like people love that sauce, man. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorites.
It's crazy. And that was one that Bill made in his kitchen, you know, small batch. And, if he had a couple jars, it was like gold back then. You know what I mean? Like same way. So it's just funny how it all works. But yeah, I mean, it's one of our top sellers right now. It's, even in grocery, it's crazy. So
for sure.
I got to ask, because this kind of happened recently. I was sad to see y'all had a little fire going on at the sauce factory.
It wasn't a little fire.
Yeah. I was downplaying it a little bit. Yeah, it took a couple of days to put. That's a lot of sugar it was burning in there.
It was mostly charcoal. So
man.
Oh, there you
go. No, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I got the call at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I saw that. I was like, oh no, this can't be good. You know what I mean? And of course, the worst thoughts go through your head. And I'm thinking like, we're gonna burn half the town down if that charcoal caught on fire or whatever. But honestly, it burned exactly like charcoal should burn. It burned for a long, long time. I think it's still going. About 10 days now or 11 days now, at least, or whatever. So we had about probably 15 semi-loads of charcoal in there, mostly lump and some briquettes. But yeah, we had some sauce and some seasoning in there too. But luckily it wasn't our main facility. It was our, kind of our secondary warehouse that we were using and leasing from a guy. But it's crazy, man. It's been, unfortunate, but it's, it could have been a lot worse, like a lot worse.
Sure.
So.
Sure. No one got hurt. Just, probably you can replace product. So
exactly. And, it does put us a pinch behind on some areas, but, like I said, luckily that was kind of our secondary, unit that, some of the stuff that we didn't move as quickly was over there. So,
right.
We can regroup and so, it's just been, a lot of, I don't know, a lot of questions and answers or whatever from around here and on the news and all that stuff for reasons that you don't really care to be on there for. So,
sure.
But like I said, it could have been worse.
Oh yeah.
We're happy that it wasn't. So.
Right.
It's all the co-packers like, hey man, we're ramping up. Let's get it.
Yeah, they were ready to go, thankfully, I guess. But not for the right reasons. But you know what I mean. It's just, like I said, it was mostly charcoal, and that we had some supply at our other warehouse, so that'll keep us rolling for now. But we'll get it built back up in a hurry.
Good.
So earlier, you talked about the Marble Ridge and the pork that you raised. So can you kind of explain a little to us about how is that playing into the comp scene? I know some guys use the briskets and stuff like that. Before it's the pork, I haven't heard a lot of people using that. Just trying to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So, it's part of kind of my barbecue sickness, I guess, too, trying to be ahead of the game and, always come up with, something new and better, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what we've always tried to do. It's not, it doesn't always work and it's difficult sometimes, but, I grew up on the farm. I had everything sitting there that I needed, you know what I mean? And, facility wise and, had some property that we bought and stuff like that. So, I was like, you're never going to be the biggest farmer in the world and you probably don't want to be, you know what I mean? And for me, it was really more of a hobby to get, to learn and to just try to create there too, you know what I mean? Genetic wise and stuff. So, I've enjoyed breeding, the Wagyu cows. I've researched a ton and try to use the top bulls in the world, for marbling and things like that. And we've done a lot of IVF, embryo fertilization and stuff like that. So it's been fun. You know what I mean? It's been expensive right now, but we're getting to be, I guess, 3.5 years, almost 4 years since we first started. So that's about a 4-year turnaround. If you can imagine, for your product to, since you started investing in it, so you actually have a product, that you can sell. So, so it's been a process and, we've had, I've bought feeders and things like that in the meantime to kind of, lessen the gap and get some cash flow and everything else. But more than anything, it's been fun. It didn't really intend for it to be a competition thing necessarily. I mean, it's just a high quality meat. The competition world as far as meat goes is, it's a deadly game. Everybody wants the perfect piece every time, and these are natural animals, and you can't always control that. But no, I've definitely used our briskets. A lot of people have. The pork we haven't pushed quite as hard, but we still have. I've actually used quite a few butts. You know what I mean, and kind of like as for pulled and stuff like that over the last year, and it's very good. It's something that will probably slowly increase as we go. It's nothing I'm trying to have a race to the finish line on or anything like that. We're kind of taking it as we go.
So you're one of the first people, because you use Magnalisa hybrids in your pork, right? What does that kind of bring to the protein?
Yeah, the Magnalisa is it's a Hungarian breed. It's got long curly hair. They're craziest looking things ever, but they've got the softest, silkiest fat, that you can have, like very low melting point, a lot of omegas, just very tasty and tender fat, you know what I mean? So, and we cross that with a Duroc, an old line Duroc that's not been, bred up new or modern.
Stepped, yeah.
Commercialized genetics that would take away from marbling, basically. So the Duroc has obviously been known for marbling, and we use those two as our main cross, and it takes that low melting point, soft, tasty fat, and puts it into the marbling of the meat, and gives you a bright red color and low high pH and everything else. So it's just a good combo, and it's the best eating pork I've ever had. Getting it into the competition world and making it work there is a whole nother ball game. But I've used butts and been really happy with them, and you could definitely tell the difference. I mean, you could just texture wise and moisture wise, you could definitely tell the difference, and even an extra pop of flavor. So it's exciting, but like I said, it's nothing that I'm trying to rush on. I'm trying to take it a little slower on that area. We've got so much other stuff to do with Blues Hog and everything else that I've got to stay a little bit focused.
I understand that.
Like I said, man, it's a running joke on the show. So we're waiting for you to come out with a trophy business, because you got everything else in the barbecue game.
That's funny.
Yeah, from the charcoal to the meat to the roasted sauces. Yeah, just come out with a trophy business next. You'll be good to go.
One-stop shop.
That's right, man. Vertical integration. No, moving back to kind of business, with barbecue and business, like you said, they both and sports. I was an athlete as well, and you can't tell now, but I used to be. But no, that you have your mentors and all of them, people you look up to, people you kind of lean on when you have questions, especially when you're getting into the game, both with competition cooking and your business. Who are some of the mentors you kind of looked up to kind of took your notes from in both sides of it?
Yeah, in competition more than anything, or both business too. Man, it's hard to say. Competition wise, I mean, I took Rod Graves' class, first one ever. And I had barely been cooking there, and that kind of opened my eyes. I was like, wow, I'm not as far off as I thought I was. You know what I mean? Like that helped. And then took Butcher Barbecue, took that class years ago. That was good. You just learn things everywhere you go a little bit. I don't think I've taken too many other classes that I can remember, but I still have. I mean, people that I talk to that are probably not as well known even on a competition circuit, anymore, but that will definitely run ideas by, and it's good to talk about them, because they might be thinking the same or have a little more insight. I've met with food scientists and meat scientists and things like that quite often, and learned a ton there as far as what we're doing, and think it makes sense. And you'd be surprised how far off those were. But
sure.
Anyway, I think it helps to know, all sides of it, and like the sky's the limit to where you can stop with that, I guess, as far as science and genetics and feed and
sure.
Products that you use, all that stuff makes a difference. But I think that's it, but it's just a never ending journey, and online, looking and studying, and obviously Brad and I have talked a ton over the years, and just trying to, try a lot of trial and error, what I mean?
Sure.
So,
sure.
so that's that. I mean, business wise, I don't really know, honestly. I mean, I've studied people and followed them and, tried to pick up bits and pieces, whether I was doing landscaping or barbecue or anything else, you know what I mean? It's just, I just try to, honestly, more than anything, I just try to do what I can do and control what I can control. I mean, that's all I know. You know what I mean?
Sure. We're definitely getting it done. So that's,
I mean,
you're on the right track.
I mean, it's, the biggest part is to stay focused on what you can control. And that's what I always try to do. I mean, I don't follow what a lot of people say or do or think about me, I guess. I just try to keep doing what I can do. So.
Absolutely, man. Oh, last thing I wanted to touch on before we let you go, man. I know, like I said, you're busy and we appreciate you spending time with us this afternoon. Yeah. But let's talk about the barbecue league a little bit, man. That's such a cool resource. It definitely helped me personally. When I started the journey of learning, competition barbecue, because I'm sure when you started, you had to look a lot of forums and kind of,
guess totally different
trial and error. Yeah, trial and error. What have you seen with as far as like the online classes and classes in general? It's kind of like shortened the learning curve on teams nowadays. And how did you and Brad kind of come up with that idea?
I forgot how we came up with it, but we started it as like a kind of more of a reality show, and informational and educational and entertainment basically is kind of what the game plan was and still is, honestly. As far as the difference, I mean, I think people think judging's off now, but I just think there's so many more people that have more access to information that can be dangerous in a contest in a hurry. It's like if somebody wins, you're like, well, where did he come from? Well, dude might have been practicing and studying, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard to figure out, I guess. You still got to do it and consistently do it. But, I don't know. I think we like helping people and like seeing them succeed. I mean, we did classes for years and probably still do, I guess. But, people are going to find the information. I feel like if, you might as well help them out. People helped me out on a different level when I started. That was one of the cool things that I liked about barbecue. Guys did help you out. They did, they might have tricked you or told you half the truth or whatever, which is fine. Half is better than nothing at the time. You know what I mean? So, you could still figure it out on your own. But, Barbecue League is fun. It's a good, very good resource for information. We've got some new content coming with, more reality based. And, we always wanted it to be kind of just a hub for anything barbecue, and whether that was, competition or backyard or events or restaurants or, entertainment, whatever it is. I think it's got a lot of potential in that area. The problem is Brad and I both have day jobs or other jobs that we've got to focus on too. So, it kind of gets the short end of the stick on time wise sometimes, but we have been working on it lately and we've got some cool plans for kind of taking it to another level. I think it's, like I said, everybody has loved it, has used it. It's just getting more people to try it.
I mean, for the price, you can't beat it. I mean,
you can't in the competition world. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the easiest money you can spend. And for a backyard guy, there's not as much for him right now, probably. But we got to think about that as well. But we'll keep the content coming and see where it takes us.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get to this comment before I let you go, man. Like I said, our good friend Matt Osman from Blinkies, he said, did we already discuss how Shake and Bake Barbecue is points leader for KCBS for teams with 5 comps or less, man? You're like literally living up to your team name, Shake and Bake, man. You're coming in, cooking 5. You got what, 2 GCs, RGC, and a 3rd and a 5th or something like that?
I think you're right, something like that, yeah. I know. It's kind of crazy, though. I either have to go to 10 or quit. So I don't know. We'll finish with 10 probably almost, I think, if we keep going.
Got you.
With the Royal coming up and well, I guess I don't know when the season ends. It's not the end of the year anymore. So I'm not sure. I don't really, points chasing hasn't really been on my mind. It was just more or less getting back into some competitions before the Royal came. I didn't want to go in cold or out of rhythm. So getting back in the game has been fun. The competition has been fun and people are fun. You know what I mean? It's a good switch up. I mean, I was burnt out for a while after doing so many every year, but gave it a little bit of a rest and
sure,
enjoyable again.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, Tim, this is the time of the show where it's brought to you by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue supply needs. It's a little lightning round. I'm going to ask you like 5 questions. Nothing too crazy, nothing insane. I mean, maybe. And don't think about it too much. And you ready to roll?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, man. Whenever you're at a barbecue competition, what is one thing you always have in your trailer that you can't say your thermopin or your thermometer? What's one thing you always have with you?
The JBL.
All right, there you go. Boom. See, it's a necessity, man. If the people next to you, if you don't like the music next to you, you got to have a bigger speaker. That was my thought process.
You probably shouldn't have parked there.
See, look right here, man. It's tall guys. That's how we do. Yeah. No, man. All right. When it comes to your sauces and rubs, what is one of your favorites, and what's one of your least favorites for your sauces?
Favorite. I mean, I love Tennessee Red.
Yes,
for sure. Least favorite is probably, we call it the devil sauce, so honey mustard, which it's not fair because a lot of people love it, but it's okay.
You need to come out with a Blues Hog Alabama white sauce, man. That's what I want to wait.
Yeah, I've made one. We called it Blues Hog Blonde. Haven't released it or anything like that, but we've definitely made it a couple times. So.
There you go, man. I love some white sauce, man. They don't get enough love, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. All right, give me, like I said, when we talk about our when you're cooking your contest, what's one contest that you always will go to outside of a major? What's one that is one of your favorites?
I love our hometown Washington contest. They didn't have it this past year, but we've got to do everything we can to bring it back. It's just always a fun atmosphere, and half the contest I think would crash at my house afterwards. So it's been a party, but we've got to bring that one back.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right, man. Last question. I'll let you out of here, man. How tall are you?
6'7". Tallest.
I remember that. I remember sixth grade. No, that's cool, man. 6'9" is taller than 6'7". I just want to make sure. But no, Tim, man, I appreciate you coming on. I had to. I appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're extremely busy, man, and you're definitely one of the goats of barbecue for us. And I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you in Pusa Q. And
I appreciate it, man. Absolutely. It was my pleasure, and nice to meet you down there as well. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. I'd like to see the new blood get it rolling too. You know what I mean? So.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Well, I truly appreciate it, man. Do you have anything new coming out? Anything you want to tell the people before I let you go?
Oh, dude, I've been working in the lab on. We've got about 20 new sauce and dips and stuff like that. We've been working on some rubs, working on our meat products. I mean, it's nonstop, man. It's been all right,
man. Get in the meat lab, working stuff out, man.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, buddy. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. And I look forward to seeing you on the trail.
All right, appreciate you guys.
See you, buddy.
We'll see you, man.
Man, that was cool, dude.
Oh yeah, super cool, man. Super cool guy.
Another awesome interview. Another definitely one of the bucket list guys for the show for sure. But all right, man, that's it. We are back. I want to wrap this month up next week, right? Or is there another week? I think I always forget, man. I never look at a calendar.
I think next week
But we're gonna have me and Blinky coming on. Gonna have another awesome heavy hitter guest for you guys, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. If while you're listening and while you're watching, if you could hit that like, subscribe button or follow, it helps the channel and helps us, and we truly appreciate it. If you want to keep seeing my beautiful face, I am sweating like a hog right now. It's ridiculous. I think I'm like 102 temperature. So even with the flu, I'm still here for you guys. AJ, I don't know. I don't know what your excuse is for looking like you are, but anyways, I'll let that go, man. But all right, man. Well, until next time, guys. When it comes to barbecue, make sure you're always right on cue. Boop. See you guys.
That's all, folks.